Hello and welcome to PBA 305, where learning is a journey and policy making is a trip as well. Always remember that policy making is a journey, not just a destination. And then when you're done, you reevaluate and you start again doing it a little bit better the next time. We are getting into chapters 7 and 8 for our week 5 module. Wanted to highlight some specific big picture goals that we'd like to take away from this, and at the same time wanted to give you a reminder that we are submitting our paper topics for our 10 to 15 page research paper Sunday. So your topic is due on Sunday, that's September 29th. There is a very detailed one-pager, two-pager that outlines the specific requirements for the paper, as well as has some helpful examples about different policy issues that you may be interested in. At the very least, they could give you an idea of how to structure your idea, of how to put yours together. My suggestion would be to pick a policy topic that you're interested in and also that you are passionate about. It really helps the research and writing process to be more interesting, and ultimately you'll create a better product because it's something that you love and enjoy. So it's always a good idea to pick something that you're going to find somewhat stimulating. The first takeaway for the lesson today is that we are still in politics as usual with the budgeting process as well as with the policy evaluation process. The budgeting process is still very much a decision of who gets what. It's oftentimes politically motivated, and politicians are often seeking to carry out the promises that they made in their campaigns and to their constituents, and are also finding the art of compromise to be very important because they are not only trying to enact their goals, but they realize they need to help other people in order to get their goals taken care of. And these people are not necessarily always politically motivated. They also have the public good in mind as well. So it's an opportunity to see that social needs are also collinear with these political goals. There's a social environment ongoing perpetually that requires a politician to be aware of short-term and long-term goals that are involved in budgeting. We've all heard the term, "He who has the goal makes the rule." Well, in this case, it's true. Money enables policies to be carried out, to be implemented. If a policy is quote-unquote zero funded, which means there's no money allocated to its implementation, it is basically dead in the water. There is no way that policy can be enacted without the resources to carry it out. So it's important to see that this budgeting process is a very, very important aspect to the policy approach. Second, let's think about how this is actually a very complex process as well. We are dealing with trillions and trillions of dollars. We're dealing with thousands of government programs. We're dealing with outcomes and goals that are short term, that are long term, thinking 30, 40, 50, 100 years out. What are going to be the outcomes of these policies? At the same time, we're thinking what are going to be the immediate impacts socially? Are they going to create jobs? Are they going to clean up the environment? Are they going to increase the availability of natural resources in terms of natural gas and oil available to our domestic use, both in the short term and in the long term? So we are looking at a system that is complex. It goes through 3 different cycles from the big picture. It starts from the agencies. They request funding for certain programs and activities. They request these funds from the executive office directly. The executive office then reviews the request, and they make a recommendation based upon the review to the president, and present the recommendation to the president. And the president then reviews those. He has an ability to change or deny or grant the ability for those requests to move forward. And then those move on to Congress. And the Congress has a period in which they seek to resolve the budget items that were presented to them. So I call it the 3 R's of budgeting. It's request, review, and resolve. At that point, after Congress resolves the solutions, it goes back to the agencies for their implementation and their execution. Okay, the third key takeaway are the challenges involved at this point in the budgeting process. Who can forget this past year, the shutdown that occurred when we, as a bipartisan Congress, were unable to come to terms for the budget. And so basically the government shut down except for some very essential activities because there wasn't money allocated toward anything else. So we see that the funding oftentimes is the lifeblood of the government, and some of the challenges involved are playing political football. That seems to be a case in point with that shutdown. People have agendas, people have points to prove. They also have backroom deals that they're keeping with other people in their party or in the opposite party, where they are getting something in return for their vote. At the same time, there are legitimate needs, social needs, as we said, that are in the social environment that require the attention of the Congress at that time to deliver dollars toward those problems. For example, the Farm Bill going through helps to resolve hunger. Funding toward our national defense helps to keep us all safe. And we're also in a situation where there are limited information that's going on. There are basically the decision makers have a very shallow amount of information. They can always request more information from the Congressional Budget Office, but oftentimes they are acting still on very limited information and sometimes biased information that helps them lead one way or the other. So the overall goal is to reduce expenses while helping ensure outcomes, but at the same time there are all these challenges going on that they're facing, acting on limited information in a political environment and also a social environment that requires action but makes it difficult to act. So therein lies the challenge. Fourth is that this is an imperfect process, that it doesn't always meet its goals, but it is the best thing that we have right now. It seems to work good, and it could be a lot worse. We piece by piece, bit by bit, get it done. So that's one of the interesting things about it. It's not ideal, but it does work. We're also in a situation, ethical situations apply as well. There are some great videos on the Tuskegee study that went on starting in the 30s in the content material that is very interesting and eye-opening if you weren't aware of it. We're also looking at a time when, after the programs are funded, they need to be evaluated. So the evaluation leads to oftentimes the changes in policy that are required so that we can move forward as a society and not waste government dollars as much. So that evaluation process is important. And again, it's not perfect, but it works. So at that, I'll let you begin your journey on to week 5. Please let me know if you need anything or have any questions, and happy travels. Thanks.